right, guys, let's get this party started. This is Attorney Simone, your legal bestie, and this is an episode of Girl, Is That Legal? And we've got a lot on the docket today. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know where you're coming in from. And as you can see below, so here's what we got on the docket today. We're going to talk about Governor Newsom in California giving out free IVF. We're going to talk about a storm hack that I wanted to share with y'all. Shaboozey and Jkwon won some awards at the Country Music Awards. We're going to talk about this bride that got ghosted, honey. She is upset. She got ghosted by her makeup artist, as well as, the YSL judge and her walking off. There's something else I wanted to add to the docket today, and I thought you guys wouldn't mind. Y'all, Miss Netta. Y'all know Miss Netta and Charles, aka Miss Bill Cosby. There are all these different nicknames for her because people are mean. Okay, they're terrible. But I'll actually start there. So before we get to that, though, I just want to remind you guys, don't forget you can get my book, which is called Background Checks 101, the beginner's guide to determining who the heck you're really dealing with. You can get that on my website, which is SimoneRedwine.com. As well, if you want to book a consult with me, you just come up to the top of this website, you click in the little corner, you click book or hire Attorney Simone. And right now I still have some slots open. We are opening the books for October. So there are slots for consultations starting at $149 for 30 minutes. And I do assist people with legal issues all over the United States. All right. So Miss Netta, y'all. So your girl, Miss Netta. Now, Miss Netta likes, I don't know if she does it intentionally or what have you, but she be pissing people off all the time. And so she pissed off the wrong person on the right day, because this particular young lady, she done went and this woman done went and trademarked Miss Netta. Here's a clip of her video discussing why she chose to do this. Let me see.
That deep? Well, it is that deep. It's that deep for me. Not only are you on here still talking about Black women, on here still scamming people out of their money, still lying, but you decided to get my live suspended and give me more strikes and try to get my videos turned down. I don't come over there to your platform. I just make content. That's what I do. I make content on the current events that's going on. And I told you before, I told you from the jump that you made it personal when you got on my live and you talked about my kids. Okay? When you talked about my mothering. I told you, Joe. I told you that it's going to be personal. So yesterday was it for me. So you think you're a Gemini? Because you're not a Gemini. I just showed you a real Gemini. Okay? You thought you can get my page taken from me? You're trying to take my page from me? Well, I'm going to buy your name. I'm going to buy your name and I'm going to trademark it to where you can never, ever use it. And if you do use that particular name, I'm going to get all the proceeds. They're all going to go to me. I can actually have your content removed for using my trademark name. You don't have permission to use it. This is real, Joe. I'm not playing with you. I bought your Mrs. Netta. Okay? I bought it.
Bought the trademark from Miss Netta.
I also bought Miss Netta. Okay? So that's your side name.
I'm going to give a breakdown.
So anything associated with Mrs. Netta and Miss Netta all comes into one. Ain't it fun? Ain't it fun when you think that you got one up on somebody, but they're way smarter than you and they're 2 steps ahead? So with that being said,
Lord,
stop messing with people on the internet, because you don't know what people are capable of doing.
All right, so there you go. You guys get it. So someone said, so Cheryl Lee has the question. So can just anybody trademark your name? Technically, yes. Anybody could trademark your name. I actually did that to someone that I had beef with, and I trademarked it. And what's real petty is I had never even told this person that I trademarked their name. I'm just going to wait for them to need it. I'm just waiting for them to need it, because then when they need it, they're going to go and they're going to apply, or they will have already hired a lawyer to go and apply. And at that point, the lawyer will see, I own it. But here's the real deal on this. I love her strategy as far as, like, assuming this is a valid beef or whatever. I see where she's going at. So the gist of it is this. Miss Netta, aka Miss Netta and Charles, has been picking with this woman, and it seems like this woman was probably picking right back, right? But she was done because Miss Netta talked about her kids, got her live taken down. When that happens, it's super annoying, because it means you can't go live on Instagram for a few days. It also means you're getting strikes against your account. And if you get too many of those, it can suspend your account. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Scamming Christian Gold, alleged scammers, right? Mr. and Mrs. Christian Gold, they tried that on me about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, they got my page taken down because they had all their little friends get together and report it. But the devil works hard, but the Lord works harder. So I actually know people within the system, and I simply appealed it and won and did. So, because God don't like ugly. So I understand how that can be frustrating, but here's the legal tea, right? Here's the legality behind trademarking. So she can go ahead and do this. But what happens is, what she would be filing, and I don't know this lady's names, but what she would be filing is an application that's called intent to use, because she's not using Miss Netta's trademark. And the truth of the matter is, what happens when you get intent to use is it dates back to the date of filing. However, if somebody has already been using it, they don't have to stop. No, if they've already been using it, as Miss Netta has been using it here, then they have what's called common law rights, which means wherever they've been using their name for the class and goods and services they've been using it on. So here, the class would be entertainment purposes, podcasting, television, those kinds of things, right? She can still use it everywhere she's been using it. Here, that's across America. But if this woman wants to then, let's say, get it and use it as a t-shirt line, as a logo on a t-shirt, like how Nike is a brand, she could do that. But she couldn't validly, she could apply, but she wouldn't validly get it for entertainment purposes, podcasting, TV, all the things Miss Netta has already been doing, because Miss Netta has common law. However, Miss Netta would have to either hire a lawyer, or she could do it herself, which I don't think she could do it herself or would want to, right? She would need to do what's called oppose this lady's trademark application, because basically you apply for your trademark, then it's published for opposition. During the time frame where it's published for opposition, anybody who has a problem with it could say, I don't like this. For example, about 2 years ago, when Juneteenth became a federal holiday, literally a white company came and trademarked the word Juneteenth. Oh, baby, I had my pen and my pencil ready. I had my little typewriter ready. Not my typewriter, but my laptop. I said, the hell you will. No, you're not. Well, they ended up getting so much backlash. I didn't even have to file a not a opposition. I was going to oppose it under the grounds that this is a federal holiday. It's like trying to trademark Christmas. You can't do it because it's descriptive of something in the public domain. Ultimately, that company withdrew their application because they knew better. My point here, yeah, it was a colonizer. Absolutely. So my point here is, when you're dealing with something that's already being used, here Miss Netta is already using her name. She will have the opportunity to oppose this woman's trademark, and she don't have to pay for it. And if she doesn't want to buy this lady's trademark, what she'll be able to do is say, well, she can use it. She can use it for trash bags if she wants. She could use it for, other things. I don't know, baby toys, but she can't use it for entertainment purposes because this woman bought it knowing I had already been using it. And when it comes to two trademarks, one already being in use and one that's intent to use, already being used prevails generally. Okay. It's going to prevail. And with the intent to use, this woman here is going to have to show specifically what products she's using it on and how. and you only get a trademark for the specific class of services that you apply for. And every class is like it's like $325. So it's not cheap to do. Gotcha. I'm sorry. Yeah, my background is distracting. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still in jail. I think it would be not so bad if like his little hand, get back in your cell. Sorry. Back here. All right. So that was the first thing on the docket. It actually wasn't even listed on the docket, but I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and handle this right here because I just thought Miss Netta and them were just wild. Here we go. So next up is the storm. All right. So got the docket back up. All right. So regarding the storm, now prayers are up to all of those on the East Coast from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, who are, yes, this is Puffy's background. That's right. Puffy's still sitting in that jail cell board. So I got him back there. Drake is on the docket. Yes, Drake is on the docket. Okay. So going back to now we're talking about the storms. All right. And so with the storms, what I wanted to be clear to everyone about is, as you can see, there are people all the way from Florida, all the way up to North Carolina, etc., that are dealing with the storm. And interestingly enough, I was on the phone with one of my homegirls who's unemployed, and she was like, dang, I really don't want to, but I think I'm going to have to tap into my retirement account. I need to pull some money out to live on. I said, no, boo, hold up. I said, I want you to wait. She said, why? I said, it's hurricane season. I want you to wait and see if a storm comes. If a storm comes and your county is designated as a county that was a disaster area, and it honestly doesn't take too much for that. So like for Houston, all of our surrounding counties were designated that way between April, March, and June. If it's designated that way, you can actually pull out of your 401k or your retirement account or whatever retirement account that you have. I'm not talking about a pension, I'm talking about a retirement account. You can pull it out without the penalty that the U.S. government usually gives. So she needed this money anyway. It just so happened that this storm hit Atlanta. In about a week, you should see, if not less, you should see the federal government designate those counties as disaster counties that suffered a disaster, which means you can take money out of your 401k, your IRA, any of that stuff if you need to, without I think it's usually like a 10% penalty or what have you, whatever that penalty is. So keep that in your pocket. And this is whether or not your specific house has suffered any damage. Okay. So even if your house is okay, if you're in the zone, you're allowed to do that. But it has to be done, I believe it's within 90 days of the storm. So that's why I told her, like, hey, don't do it yet. Wait for the storm. Sure enough, she called me. She was like, girl, you were so right. How did you know? They said a storm's coming to town. I said, well, we gonna pray it don't knock your house down. But it worked out. All right. So there we go. All right. Next up, let me see. Okay. Y'all are just really screaming for this Drake. So come on. We go on to Drake next. Drake next. All right. So let's see. It says, believe it or not, WAC 100 is reporting that Drake served Kendrick Lamar a cease and desist letter in an attempt to stop him from performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. Y'all, we need you to hit that like. We've got over 240 likes. We only got 63 likes. I need you to hit that like because it's the last day of the month, y'all. I need that YouTube. I need them YouTube coins because my clients need me, and I ain't making enough money to quit my job. So please hit that. Simone with the nuggets. Yes. All right. So yeah. So allegedly, I personally don't really believe this. First of all, one of the softest things you could possibly do after a rap battle is serve someone with a cease and desist letter. But also, as you know on this channel, we are infotainment. And if you recall, during the Christian Gold drama, they served me with a cease and desist. And truly, what a cease and desist simply says, don't get up there lying. Don't get up there lying on me. Well, that's not applicable when it's a rap diss song. Because one of the exceptions for defamation, so it's asking him to cease and desist from saying anything defamatory, an exception is hyperbole or opinions. So to say like one of his lines was, his favorite line is A minor, as in a minor. That could be seen as hyperbole, or it could be interpreted to be calling that person as a pedo. Right. But more than likely, they're going to argue, Kendrick Lamar's legal team would say, hey, everything is exaggerated. It's a rap battle. similar to satire. So I think that would be ridiculous. The other thing about this, though, I want you to be very clear. Cease and desist letters don't mean anything. They don't hold up in court. But the purpose of them is if you basically need to send one first before you file suit for defamation, because you have to give the person a chance to take down whatever they're saying that's defamatory. This wouldn't make sense to say, don't perform it at the Super Bowl. Okay, but I can perform it everywhere else. I can perform it in all the other concerts. No, this sounds like a myth that grew legs and walked too far along. That doesn't make sense. And the Super Bowl is not going to walk itself into a lawsuit. In other words, there's no way that the Super Bowl hired this man, Kendrick Lamar, without expecting him to sing that song. And so Drake can sing whatever Drake wants, but that's an invalid claim. And I believe that the NFL's legal team, the one that would be over Super Bowl clearances and all of that, would be like, absolutely not. Absolutely, like, no way, Jose. Yes, Jessica says he literally performed it 6 times in one show. No, I don't. Still, Cheryl, I think Drake will actually file suit for that. So one of the ways that you can file suit, hold on, let me lower my seat. Ow, my butt. Oh, well. One of the ways that you can file suit in this instance would be Drake, hypothetically, he could file a lawsuit for defamation and add with it a request for what's called an injunction. The injunction would be requesting an order from the judge saying that until this matter is resolved, until this court case is resolved, he can't perform the song anymore. I think a judge will look him dead in his face and say, boy, please, why now? This song has been out for 6 months, almost a year. Why now? You are simply trying to prevent this guy's bag, and you started it and he finished it. So I don't see a judge agreeing to that. So he can file it, but yeah, I agree, Cheryl. It ain't going nowhere. I really don't think this is true. I think it's a myth. I think Whack 100 enjoys trolling Drake and making Drake seem soft and like a non-entity, you know. But the truth is, like, Drake could buy Whack 100 if he wanted to. Like, I am sure he is for sale. Thank you. Let's see. What do we got? Proactive. Thank you. Grateful for your legal counsel in the entertainment way. I think you should trademark edutainment. Oh, thank you. I love that. And your Gmail AOL going to jail line. Yes, I do. I'm a firm believer that if your lawyer has Gmail, you're going to jail. And if your lawyer has AOL, you're definitely going to jail. Hence, Christian Gold, his lawyer, had a Gmail address. And not just having a Gmail, it's when you use it on your professional court pleadings and filings, always questionable. All right. Next up, I'm going to add to the stage. All right. This is Jkwon and Shaboozey. Congratulations to Shaboozey. Shaboozey is the first, I believe he's the first Black male artist to receive country music awards. Actually, I think the Dave Matthews Band guys got one too, but he received a number of awards at the CMAs, even though Beyonce herself did not. And Shaboozey's song, YouTube Won't Let Me Be Great, so I can't play a clip of it, but it's getting everybody in the bar getting tipsy. Everybody in the bar getting tipsy in his little country way. And it's almost like a remix of Jkwon's Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy from back in the 2000s. I distinctly remember that song because it kind of like broke up me and my boo at the time. I was visiting Atlanta and I had just found out I was cute because I was a senior in college or whatever year it was. I was in college and I just found out I was cute and I went to Atlanta, supposed to be visiting my little high school sweetheart. And he was walking around the club with his boys. And I was like, I'll be back. I'm just going to walk around. And then this guy was like, excuse me, you want to come in VIP? And I was like, sure, because I was poor. I go in VIP. And he was like, walk this way. And I remember him telling me to do that. And security was like, she can't come over here. And he was like, no, she can come. And I was like, ooh, he has leadership skills. And I followed him. He was like, walk this way. And then all of a sudden I heard Jkwon go, everybody in the club getting tipsy. I was on the stage. I was supposed to be taking a bathroom break away from my date. He looks up. I'm on the stage. Whatever the strange man is that walked me over there puts his ball cap on my head. And I'm like, well, guys, I'm on the stage now. Guess I better start dancing. And everybody in the club getting. So I had a really good time. So Sidebar story, because on this channel, I be having a lot of sidebars. Had a good old time, and congratulations to Shaboozey. And what I really loved is when you look at the credits for the song, they worked together. So Jkwon got his production credit and or writing credit. Shaboozey got his money. Just black excellence all together, working together. So I love to see it because it's so much stealing that goes on in the music industry. So to see when it's done right and everyone's getting their proper credit. You guys heard me read the petition, the lawsuit that Dawn had against Diddy, where specifically she talked about for years and years he would take her music, use her music, and not pay her money. So we love to see it done right. All right. Next up on the docket. Ooh. Okay. Next up on the docket. This was a sad little story. Hold on. We're going to do share this haven't said. There we go. All right, so this is a situation where the woman on the left is a bride. She's a bride, and she's claiming that she hired this makeup artist. I think she goes by like Keeler or something like that. The makeup artist is on the right. She hires the makeup artist for her wedding. The makeup artist cancels the night before and says she's canceling because she has to do JT from City Girls makeup. Meanwhile, this woman had already left town, blah, blah, blah. And has the audacity. You're gonna see what she says. So the girl on the left. So I'm gonna play the clip, and then we're gonna talk about if something like this happens to you, what are your legal remedies? Here we go.
Like look, like makeup, bright eyes, perfect. She did have this rule. She said that we can't book her makeup until 3 months before the event. So then I messaged her like on the 27th of that month because it was like 3 months away from the wedding, September 27th. So this was August 1st. I messaged her actually. Correction.
Hit that like button.
Yep. I had messed out.
So we've only got 120 likes.
Then she responds back, and I said, okay, what do you exactly want me to email you? She tells me, and I email her. No response. So then August 6th, she goes, hey babe, I saw your email. I'm going to open up my site. Thanks. August 7th. Good morning. Just let me know when I can open it.
You hear an echo? Let me see if I can fix that.
Hey babe, I should have known. Then I messaged her again. Can I book? She said, hey babe, calling you right. I called her on the phone. I'm going to call you right back. We're still on wedding makeup. Okay, thank you. September 2nd. Hello. The wedding's in 24 days. Are you able to do my makeup or not? Because at this point, I DM'd her.
Okay, hold on a second.
Messaged her. But
can you still hear it? Sorry, guys. Can you still hear it? Let's see if this is any better. I'm trying to get rid of the echo. Okay, you can still hear it? Okay, good.
And at the time we talked on the phone, I'm like, you're going to be there.
Is it still okay? Is it still echo now?
Like, and I'm a Christian. We talked about Christ and all this other stuff. And I was just like, okay, you know what? She's been finicky, but it's okay. It's okay. She said we're good. So my wedding was, again, September 27th. Hurricane Helene came, and it was raining that morning, but it should have been clear that afternoon. So we had talked on the phone that morning. I called her. She said she's good. We're good for today. And then she texted me this later on. Hey, the weather looks like it's worsening. Let me know if anything changes. I go, hey, thanks for the concern. But they said, because they gave us an option. They said, okay, you can keep it for the 27th or you can move it to the 28th. But a lot of my family came in town from out of state. So I said, we're just going to keep it on the 27th. The weather looks good. Why? So that was this morning. Why at 9:22 p.m.? Hey, I'm sorry. JT just booked me for New York tomorrow. I'm going to call with her, so I have to go. I'm looking for a makeup artist for you right now. I go, girl, ain't no way. You knew you had my wedding. I'm so confused. I know you just not canceling the night before my wedding. Why go on Instagram? She's already with JT. She was already gone out the state.
You guys, I'm going viral on TikTok. And it's crazy being publicly humiliated. But when you're in Christ, I don't look to social media in the world for acceptance, mercy, grace, compassion. Like, I look to God for it. So for everybody that's trying to humiliate me, make me feel small, I serve the God that created the world. I serve the God that created the world. And so even in my mistakes, God forgives. Even in my mistakes, God has grace and mercy. He's sovereign, but y'all don't know that because y'all don't know God. So I hope y'all take this time to find Him. And I'm praying for you guys, just like I prayed for the girl. She was crying. I'm going to pray for y'all because even in my apology, even it's never enough. The world hates you. People who don't even know me are in my inbox. Y'all don't know me. But guess
They're in your inbox because you're a horrible person. Let me know if it's still echoing. They're in your inbox because you're a terrible person. You're and I'm so sick of fake Christians. This is not a real Christian. I'm so sick of fake Christians sitting there trying to hide behind God. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Here we go. Absolutely not. Because she knew what she did was wrong. And yeah, I hope that her makeup career, and let's see, Nursing Game said she just ruined her makeup career. I hope that she's gonna have to, her work ebbs and flows as far as like her money right now, because she was wrong for that. Now it did say, I don't know if she gave the girl her deposit back. It said in the text exchange she was gonna try and find someone else to do it. But no, it does not look like, no. According to the bride did not reference any substitute makeup artist. Oh, and check out this excuse. Woo! Because again, I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna talk about this. And then I'm going to tell you about legally, what are some of your legal options if something like this happens to you. Child, let me tell you. Now, first of all, like professional makeup artists have a wedding contract, okay? They have a specific contract that's used for weddings because there are certain parameters and things like that. Her excuse, this makeup artist gave the excuse, well, I was only doing her makeup. I wasn't doing the entire wedding party. And usually I require a minimum of 5 brides. Well, listen, that's irrelevant. That's even more of a reason why you should have done her makeup and gotten it done. If you were only doing that one person, then that also means you're not expected to attend the wedding, because some makeup packages I've seen where the bride wants you to stay there, be there all day, etc. No, she didn't require any of that. But then, so then for you to be like, oh, well, I should have never did it in the first place. No, you should have never done it if it wasn't enough money for you to prioritize it. That's all that there is. I hope JT does not book her again for this behavior because it's extra trifling, but no good gonna come to you, girl, until you do right by your clients. And if you go to the comments that were on like Shade Room, and let me see, where was this post? This one is the girls. I love their page, y'all. The girls. They're both on Twitter, X, and Instagram. But if you go there in the comments online, I've seen other women also saying that she did the same things to them. They had one woman said she was heading a panel at InvestFest, and that this woman was 2 hours late and was an hour late and turned making her an hour late for going on. And it was just a huge, big mess. So it says anyone that books with her should know if a famous person wants her, she's out. Book at your own risk. So number one, if you're doing it for a special day, go ahead and have a contract. Now, I personally believe if it's gonna be for a wedding, if it's just you, I don't even use the W word. I don't use the wedding word, because whatever it is you want, they're gonna multiply the price times 3 just because you use the word wedding. Nothing is gonna be different in what she wants. Like, you could still book the pre-appointment where you try her out and all the other stuff. So number one, I don't use the word wedding, but if it was important to me, I would have, you can go online and you can get a preset contract. You want a preset contract that says this is the deposit, that the deposit is refundable. You always want to say refundable. And you can say within how many days. It's refundable within 1 week. It's refundable within 2 weeks, 30 days. By the way, that refundability, it only applies to you, the customer, calling to cancel your appointment. If the makeup artist, cancels, even if it's a non-refundable contract, they still got to give you your money back. The refundability only applies to the client, the person paying the money. It doesn't mean that you can take my money and then be like, psych-alike, told you the deposit's not refundable. No, B, that's not how it works. Secondly, I would have a clause in there that says something. There's different kinds of damages, but basically something that says you're understanding this is important to me and that you need to be on time, failure to be on time, and you can make it mutual. You can make it mutual. If you're not on time, that there's a penalty of whatever. If they're late, you get to cut whatever. Or heck, if they're late, you can just do your own makeup and you don't owe them a thing and you get your deposit back. But if it's for a wedding, I would go ahead and draft. Go online. You can find a makeup artist contract. And was there a contract? Nope. It appears that it was just whatever her booking policy was. How much did she charge for ruining this woman's face and her makeup? Um, I don't know is the question. It's unclear what she charged. But if you were to go to small claims court, okay, and here's kind of the final bit of the tea on this. Now, if you're to go to small claims court, which in various states, you would get the amount you paid for your appointment plus any inconveniences. Let's say you went out and bought your own a whole bunch of other makeup. You could ask the court to pay for that, because you wouldn't have had to do that if you hired the artist. Also, if you have to get a different artist and that new artist costs twice as much, the difference between what you would have paid her and what you had to pay another person, you can get that in addition to getting your money back. And when it's a smaller amount, so let's assume here that this amount is that we're talking like $200. One thing I recommend is do not be afraid, y'all, to call Judge Judy, to call Judge Mathis, to call these judge shows. I kid you not. I've had friends that have been on them, because here's how it works. The benefit of going on is they pay you, they fly you wherever it's recorded, they put you up in a hotel. They pay you an appearance fee as well. And here's how that works. If you win your lawsuit, you don't have to go running after that person for money. The show pays to you before you leave the building a check for whatever it is that you want. Or they might nowadays with electronic, they might like electronically pay you. But yes, you will get paid. Yes, you will get paid by the show. So that's one of the incentives of being on. And it's a lot easier to get on than you think. Literally, go to their website, go to judgejudy.com, Judge Mathis, any of that. Beautiful. You asked, do I counsel about child support issues? My son has an issue with this young who trapped him, military son. I do. You can book a private consultation with me to go over that at SimoneRedwine.com. 30 minutes start at $149 there. So unfortunately for that young girl, I hope the bride ultimately had the wonderful day that she was expecting. But that was trifling. Okay. Next up on the docket, we are moving right along, you guys. Yes, feel free to hit. I love super chats. On super chats, when you're watching from, someone had asked me like, oh, how can I send a super chat? When you're watching and you see the little, it's like a $sign or the chat box where you're chatting in Instagram, where you type in your words to the left-hand side is like a $sign. It's an emblem and you can click there to send a super chat if you'd like. Hold on one second. Oh, and it looks like we've got Renita Lumford is a new member. Thank you for joining, hun. Oh, Judge Mathis is retired. I thought he had a second show, but you're right. I thought he had a show on a different network, but you could very well. But I know Steve Harvey pays good. His show pays good. He ain't even a real judge, but it pays good. All right. So final item on the docket. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. We got the IVF. Oh, I don't know if did I talk about IVF? No, I did not. We're going to go to that real quick before we do this. And that is, all right. Congratulations to those in the state of California. Governor Gavin Newsom is making IVF free for those in the state of California. Now, this is going to go into effect January 1st here. And hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this one little clip to go with it. Here we are earlier. Maybe it didn't come through. Yes. But January 1st, it's going to come through. And here's the catch. So you have to be diagnosed with what's called infertility. But the catch is it's very widely defined. So infertility includes the gays. Yay! Gays. Because gays can't impregnate other gays. So it helps the LGBT, all the letters in the alphabet. You guys, congratulations. It also helps people like myself who want to preserve their eggs but don't have a partner. That makes you unfertile because you have no ability to fertilize your own. So If you have a loved one in the state of California, you want to have them read up on this so that they can freeze up those eggs, do IVF, whichever they prefer. And there's going to be an insurance. There's one particular insurance that's going to cover it in the state of California. So when open enrollment comes around in November, for those people who want to exercise this option, they're going to need to make sure that if you're using Obamacare, you sign up for that particular option. What is this? California expands access to in vitro fertilization with new law requiring insurers to cover it. That's fantastic as well. Thank you, Cheryl. Cody said, I love living in California. Yeah, there is a catch to it. So, but what's important to understand is do not feel like it's not going to apply to you because you're not what you define as infertile. What the state has done is redefine what infertile means. And so it can cover a variety of different things. Yes, hit that like, guys. Hit that like and that share. We've got, we don't even have 200 likes yet. We need, help us. And we've got over 360 in the chat. So a great job, California, on that. So when you hear, I have to say this, when you hear the Republicans talk about, we're protecting IVF. All right. Have you guys proposed one of those federally? We're waiting. Yeah, I didn't think so. All right, next up and finally for today's docket. Oh, and y'all, I do read your comments. And so I'm going to work on anytime we do these dockets, go ahead and do, if you look below, I'll have chapters so you could skip to the segment you want. Because I appreciate those views. Those views are what gets me YouTube ad revenue and allows me to pay my bills and buy tampons. Thank you. All right. So this judge is going off on them people. Hold on. Let me just restart it because I don't think it lets me.
What it is. If it's disingenuous, if it is that, I mean, I don't want to malign the prosecutor standing in front of me right now. So I'm not going to say the possible things that it could be, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful. But honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. And I am sorry to say that, but this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented. I'm going to take a recess for a few minutes. I'll have a ruling when I get back.
Oh, baby, she's sick of them. Oh, she is sick of them people. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right. Hit that like button, guys. So let me break this down. The judge was about sick of this prosecutor, y'all. She is sick. I believe that's Attorney Love. She is sick of her. All right. Now, the backstory, someone says, what happened to the black judge? Well, there was Judge Glanville. He had the ex parte hearing, which is generally, excuse me, impermissible, except for very, very narrow situations, which were not applicable here. So that man was removed. He did not voluntarily recuse himself. He was recused. And then they were actually appointing a black female judge, but she had some form of a conflict. So she was conflicted out. And this woman has become the judge now. So when I tell you it is a kangaroo court, oh, it is. So then on the floor, so let me set up for you and explain to you what the underlying issue was in this instance. What it was is that the judge okay, so the prosecutor wanted to get into evidence what you see on the screen there, as in the TV screen within the courtroom, is this photo, and I'll make it bigger. the prosecutor was trying to get in this Instagram printout of this Instagram posting. Okay. And when she previously attempted to get it in, opposing counsel for the defendants objected and said hearsay. And hearsay is when you're trying to offer up something that basically has not been proven, and you're offering up an outside statement for the truth of the matter that's on the statement. So if you're offering up a piece of paper to say, hey, this is an actual screenshot from your Instagram, in order to do that, you have to follow certain rules to get it in. One of those would be you have to have it authenticated. It can be done by getting, for example, an affidavit from Instagram saying this here is a true and correct copy of Justin Smith's Instagram page on such and such date. You can get that. That would be considered a business record. Or you can have the actual person whose cell phone it was get on the stand, and then you say to them, do you recognize this photo? And they'll say either yes or no, and say, is this a photo that was on your cell phone? So the problem is, in this case, is none of these people want to testify for the prosecution. So she probably knew if she was to just say, hey, do you recognize this photo? He'd say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. So when the prosecutor went to the judge to try and get it in, the defendants objected. She says, oh, no, Your Honor, I'm not trying to get it in for the truth of the matter asserted. I'm getting it in for another purpose. So, for example, a different purpose would be, do you recognize the person in the photo? It's not for the truth. Like, if they recognize this as Jim, that's fine. What ended up happening is she got the dude on the stand and did exactly what she said she wasn't going to do, which was admit the document for the truth of the matter asserted, even though the judge already told her it cannot come in for that. So the judge was hot. The defendants then asked for, hit that like button, guys. The defendants then said, we want a mistrial. Now, these defendants been asking for mistrials around about once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, multiple times they've asked. Here's where the distinction between federal court and state court becomes very apparent. This judge dismissed and says, I'm not granting. She ultimately comes back on and says, I'm not granting a mistrial. And she says, what, and the defendants make certain arguments, and the judge says, well, it seems you're arguing that she is intentionally trying to cause a mistrial. But I know that she's not doing that, because even if there is a mistrial, we can't retry this case, is implicitly what the judge said. And that's true. So here's the legal tea. Here's the legality, is that if a mistrial is granted, at least as against Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, case is over. He wins. They can never try Young Thug again if they get a mistrial. And they can get a mistrial on any of the individual things they've been asking for. And the more they keep pissing off this judge, she's going to become more likely to grant it. Now, again, because this is state court and because the odds are so high, because what it is they don't want to grant that mistrial because she knows Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, cannot get tried again. And he's supposed to be the head honcho in this whole RICO shenanigans. Now, let me explain why Jeffrey can't be tried again, but all the other defendants can. Y'all ready? This the tea. All right. The reason why Young Thug cannot be tried again, but all the others could, is because Young Thug's lawyers filed a motion, which is a motion for a speedy trial. In Georgia, that means basically the prosecutors got to be ready in approximately 4 months. 4 months, they got to be ready to swear in the jury and do all of these things. Oh, baby, that is why Miss Love is not prepared. That never happens. It's buku other defendants. None of their attorneys filed the speedy trial motion. Why? Probably because their attorneys themselves would not have been ready. Jeffrey got them coins, okay? He bought that attorney's docket. In other words, effectively, whatever Young Thug paid his lawyer to do this. The lawyer said, all right, at this rate, you're literally going to be my only client. Therefore, I can be prepared. I can be prepared for trial in 4 months. Because you know who ain't? The prosecution. That's also why prosecution keeps coming up with evidence that ain't nobody seen before. Because they are literally, as the judge complained here, putting the case together as they go. Now, I want to debunk another myth about the Young Thug trial that's important to understand. Some people are saying, well, if he gets off, Jeffrey Williams, then there's going to be no RICO. Not quite. Here's why. If he gets off, that just means he gets off. For the other defendants, if he's found not guilty, generally a judge will find it would be inadmissible to let the jury know in the other defendant's case that Young Thug was found not guilty of RICO, even though he's supposed to be the head honcho, because they're going to say, oh, well, it's not relevant to your criminal activities. That's only relevant to his. And therefore, they would preclude the jury from even knowing. So I say that to say, in the end, even if Young Thug gets a mistrial and they can't bring the case against him again, that doesn't mean they can't bring RICO against anybody else. Okay. It said, yep, southwest of Houston says, oh, Leslie said, who is the judge roasting the prosecutor? The prosecutor. That's the problem. The prosecutor hasn't been ready because the prosecutor literally had to be ready to bring her case in 4 months. Now, we know it took way more than that, but she had to be ready to select the jury 4 months in. That means as this case has been going, they've been finding new evidence. They haven't even indicted everybody. They just indicted somebody like a month and a half ago. There was a hearing I watched last month where it stated, the prosecutor stated that they were still looking for someone. They hadn't yet served someone with an indictment. Oh, and this is what's significant about that, guys. Remember the whole incident with Lil Wody? Okay, they call him Woody, but it's really Wody. With Lil Wody. And Lil Wody was like, just lock me up. I'm not testifying. Initially, he was cool with that. But part of the problem of that little ex parte meeting between the judge and the prosecutor and Lil Wody that did not allow the defendants to attend, the judge explained, he said, well, Judge, how long could I be in here for? It's just till the end of this trial, right? The judge said, no, it's till the end of the trial of everyone who's been indicted related to this matter. And some people have not yet been indicted. In other words, Lil Wody was like, oh, I'll just sit here. I'll be in jail with, Young Thug. I'll get out when he get out. And the judge is like, no, you could be here for years because it's going to take years to prosecute everyone. That was what made Lil Woody say, all right, I guess I got to get on the stand because I can't get locked up indefinitely, which is exactly what the judge said. That's also why the defendant said, hold up. It is completely inappropriate for you to talk to a witness who has already been sworn in, meaning they've already started their testimony, and now you're telling them that they can't simply sit it out in jail as they wish, that if they don't go in and testify, you're going to make them go to jail indefinitely. That is coercion, undue pressure, etc., etc. So that was like the basis of the concern there. Oh, Cheryl, thank you for being a new member. Latrell says, Young Thug's lawyer is going into the Hall of Fame. Every rapper is going to have him on speed dial for sure. Thank you for those likes. Let's get those likes up. Yep. And Wody said, he openly said he lied. He said he wasn't a good witness. Again, I say all the time, I say, look, when the state's strongest witness is somebody that don't even want to be a witness, it's going to be a tough battle. That's like a company having a recruitment fair and don't nobody at the company want to work there. It's all disgruntled employees trying to convince people, hey, come join us. No. This is going to be a hard sell, buddy. It's going to be a hard sell. Heather said, yep, he wasn't talking, but they wrangled him. So yeah, so that's basically the summary of the Young Chuck trial. So the judge came back on. The judge said, no, she's not granting the mistrial because effectively she acknowledged that if that happens, they can never try Jeffrey Williams again. And she wasn't willing. She had not felt that the prosecutor's missteps rose to a level where the defendant should never in life be tried again. And again, because of the fact that the defendant pled for a speedy trial, It is now past the timeline. So if the reason for the mistrial is something the prosecutor does, they can't try him again. But if the reason for mistrial is something that the defense counsel does, they can try him again. Latrice, how much do I think your thug has spent in legal fees up to this point? I'm gonna say probably about 750, a million. So more than likely, these kind of lawyers, they do it for a flat rate. So I'm gonna guess it's at least a million because this guy had to shut down his entire practice. It's like it seems as though his entire legal staff is supporting and working through this case. So yeah, I think about a mil at least, not including well, no, he didn't make bonds, so we don't have to worry about that. But do they even have enough evidence to prove he did anything to be so hell-bent? Honestly, I need to do a little more digging. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know about the strength of the evidence regarding him. I stopped and started. I've read so much on different ones, but regarding Thug himself, I don't know about that one. Oh, thank you, driver's seat. Is it me or is the DOJ going after these conflicted men, black men? So driver's seat is my favorite troll. Conflicted black man. Let me see. I don't know. I will say this. I think the DOJ is going after celebrities who break the law. It's like they feel some type of way is the best way I would describe it. It's like they feel some type of way that you are breaking the law and then you're flaunting it to the world. So I think that's what grinds their gears more than anything. So, Candy said Diddy don't stand a chance now. Diddy's attorneys got Costco releasing statements about the baby oil. This is the thing. This is how this relates to Diddy's case is that I believe Diddy is going to file for a speedy trial as well. That's going to mean trial, as in the jury needs to be begin selecting and seating or whatever the jury in 180 days from the indictment. Oh boy, that will be an interesting spring, y'all, if that goes about. So that's what I anticipate there. So I anticipate Diddy's counsel will likely move for a speedy trial. Diddy's lawyers were saying that he can't keep him off the stand, that they think he's going to testify. We'd love to see that and those lies. But I also do believe there were some rumors going around that, they've offered Diddy a deal. No, if you read the indictment and the bail package, you can see Diddy would never sit and tell the truth long enough. They talked about him not telling the truth long enough. And in order to be offered any form of immunity or any deal, you've got to offer what's called a proffer statement. A proffer statement means we're going to let you sit here and tell us whatever, and we're not going to charge you based on anything that you've told us. Now, if we go and we get independent third-party evidence to confirm what you're saying, then we can use that third-party independent evidence to add more charges. But based on what you're saying alone, King Forte, you get to tell us your co-conspirators, you get to give us all the tea, and we're going to give you a deal based on what you shared for us. But in his situation, this man wouldn't sit there and tell the truth long enough for any deal to even be offered. I think it's far too soon, but he's too much of a liar. So fortunately, that didn't work. Oh, Mika says, I don't think a speedy trial will go in Diddy's favor. I don't think so either, Mika. I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Oh, Latrice, thank you so much. Thanks, Simone, for all you do. You are truly our legal bestie. Thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Ooh, I think we got driver's seat. We got Sherelle, the new member. Yes. Well, thank you guys. Tonight, I am going to be on with Al Reynolds on Court of Public Opinion. We're going to be talking about Laura Govan is thinking of filing a defamation suit. We're going to cover that. We've got a lot of other goodies. So I'm going to end this for now, but thanks again for joining. This is your legal bestie, Attorney Simone, on YouTube's Girl, Is That Legal? Take care.